Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a pretty big idea and look at it from a few really surprising angles. So here's what we've got on tap. We're going to peel back the layers on a complex spiritual idea using 5 different lenses. We'll start by connecting it to our daily lives, then dig into its kind of surprising history, and finally, we'll figure out what makes it so powerful and compelling in the first place.
All right, so let's jump right in. We're going to start with something I think we can all relate to, the idea of companionship. So let me ask you, who are your mighty companions? And I mean, really think about it for a second. Who, or maybe even what, is there for you? You know, the ones that help you get through your day, through your work, through life. Okay, so you've got your modern-day companions in your head, right? Your pet, that great colleague, maybe even your AI assistant, and this is where things get really interesting. The whole idea here is to take that familiar feeling of support and connect it, make a leap, really, to a deep spiritual concept from A Course in Miracles, or ACIM for short. It's suggesting that what we feel every day is just a glimpse of something much, much bigger.
So in the Course, these mighty companions are, well, they're not just helpful sidekicks. We're talking about powerful spiritual allies. They show up when you're at a really crucial turning point, right when you're ready for the next stage of your journey. They're basically a sign that says, okay, you're ready to level up, and you don't have to do it alone.
So that begs the question, right? How do you get ready for a companion like that? Well, according to the text, it all comes down to one single, most important quality.
Get this. A Course in Miracles lists 10 characteristics for what it calls a teacher of God, basically an advanced student. And what's number 1? Trust. And it's not just first on the list. The text makes it super clear that trust is the foundation. It's the one thing everything else is built on.
And this quote here, wow, it really gets to the core of it. It is governed by a power that is in them, but not of them. See, this isn't about having confidence in yourself. It's about trusting a power that moves through you, but doesn't come from you. It's a really subtle difference, but it's absolutely crucial. You're not relying on your own little pool of strength. You're tapping into the whole ocean.
And the idea is, once you've actually felt that bigger power, there's just no going back. It becomes impossible to trust what the Course calls your own petty strength again. It's kind of like, why would you try to light up a stadium with a single match when you've seen what the sun can do? The choice becomes a total no-brainer.
Okay, so now let's switch gears and play detective for a minute. Where did this whole idea of developing trust even come from? It didn't just pop out of thin air. It actually has this amazing intellectual DNA, this hidden history that we can trace.
So you got to remember, A Course in Miracles was written down in the late 60s and early 70s. And what was going on in the culture then? Developmental psychology was huge. You had guys like Erik Erikson talking about trust versus mistrust as the first stage of life. These ideas were just in the air. But the trail goes back even further than that, into philosophy.
And this is wild. One of the biggest influences, believe it or not, comes from Nietzsche. He talked about these 3 big transformations of the spirit. First, you're the camel, just carrying all the weight of duty and what you're supposed to do. Then, you become the lion. You roar, you reject all that, and you fight for your own freedom. But the final stage, you become the child. Innocent, creative, saying this big yes to life and creating your own values.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just me making a clever connection after the fact. One of the top teachers of the Course, Kenneth Wapnick, explicitly made this link. He literally wrote about how Nietzsche's camel, lion, and child perfectly map onto the spiritual journey described in the Course. He saw that exact same pattern, from burden to freedom to this beautiful, creative new beginning. So all this history and philosophy is fascinating, right? But it brings us to another really key point. The reason this text has stuck around isn't just what it says, it's how it says it. A huge part of its power is in its beauty, its language, its art. I mean, look at how it frames the central choice you have to make. It's never just a dry, logical argument. It's always this beautiful, poetic contrast. On one hand, you have the ego's shabby offerings. And doesn't that just sound awful? Fear, guilt, lack.
And on the other hand, you have the gifts of God, peace, love, joy. The language itself is designed to make the choice feel completely obvious.
And this quote, come on, who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given him? It's just genius. It doesn't lecture you, it paints a picture. It makes you feel how ridiculous it would be to stick with your own tiny strength when you have access to something so much more powerful. It's an emotional gut punch, not just a logical point.
So you see, this beauty isn't just for show. It's not just pretty decoration. It's actually a core part of the learning process. It's what keeps you motivated when the concepts get tough, it's what creates that emotional connection, and it's what gives you support when you're doing the hard work of looking at yourself. In a way, the beauty itself becomes one of those mighty companions we were talking about.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What's the big takeaway here? This whole idea of looking at something through different lenses. It's not just about this one spiritual text. It's a whole new way to learn about, well, about anything.
Think of it like getting a new toolkit for your brain. You can learn how to reinterpret abstract ideas and connect them to your real life. You can learn to investigate the history behind an idea. You can learn to appreciate the beauty of how something is argued, not just what is argued. And when you put all those pieces together, man, you unlock a level of understanding that is so much richer and deeper.
What this does is it transforms you. You go from being a passive reader, just taking in information, to being an active explorer. You're not just reading the map anymore. You're out there, in the territory, engaging with it, seeing it for yourself. It makes the whole process of learning an adventure. So, I'll leave you with this question. What's one complex idea in your life, a belief, a concept, anything that you could re-examine? What could you unlock if you just tried looking at it in a totally new way? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me on This Explained.